TitleMatchNetwork.com.
What were your initial impressions of HWA and Les?
My initial impressions, I was nervous. I was scared to death. I remember walking in. The two probably most scared moments I've ever been was the first time I walked into a Raw locker room, and the second time I walked in, when I walked into the HWA locker room, because you walk into the Raw locker room and everybody there, they look at me. I'm a tough enough guy, whatever, and then but I'm not a threat to them. They're on Raw. I'm tough enough, whatever. I'm not a threat to them, so they can just to hell with this guy. But the people in the HWA locker room, not that I was a threat by any stretch of the imagination, but I was definitely, I was there on their turf, and I was nervous about it. And I'll tell you what, man, to this day, everybody from that I was there with, I'm talking about Rosie, Jamal, Charlie Haas, Lance Cade, Shannon Moore, Jamie Noble. Everybody I was there with, it was just wonderful. Just wonderful. They took me in. They really did. Easy Money, I lived with Easy Money. Johnny the Bull. It was cool. I loved it. I absolutely loved Cincinnati. I did. It was a fun time.
Who did you enjoy working with most down there?
Easy Money taught me a lot. He worked with me. They had 2 rings set up there, and he would stay after with me or go off to the side and work on stuff with me all the time. So I definitely enjoyed it. I never got to work him in a match, but I did enjoy working with him, training and stuff off to the side. He was a good guy. Crazy enough, I never got called up. I was in HWA, and we were at practice one day, and I got a call saying I would be flying that day to LA, and that was the day that I was taking on the Undertaker to and won the hardcore title off of him. So shortly thereafter, I never got called up. They just called me one day and said, you're going to start to do house shows. I started doing house shows with Al, tagging with him. Me and him started going on the road each and every week, and that was the end of my HWA tenure.
What was your experience like wrestling your first big show, the Royal Rumble?
When I wrestled at Royal Rumble, it was nerves. I was actually very, very nervous. Because I knew it was my first pay-per-view, it was my first big-time pay-per-view, and I'm working with Undertaker. So I was happy that they put me with somebody. And Undertaker does business. He's a businessman. He was wonderful to work with. He knew how green I was. He knew how nervous I was. He pulled me backstage beforehand and told me, this is exactly how we're going to do things out there. I had to get color that night, and I'd never got color, so he did it, and he showed me how he was going to do it. He showed me how he was going to make the gig, and it was. He helped me get through it, but my God, I was nervous. It's one of those things that was over with. I was so happy.
Who came up with that whole idea with you and him?
I have no idea. I know it was Shane. Shane brought it to my attention, but I don't have a clue who came up with the idea. I like to thank him, whoever it did. It was.
And how was Undertaker with the whole thing?
I don't know how to me, he was cool. To me, he was perfectly fine with it, with all of it.
Did you expect that whole thing to go further with you and him? The angle longer, or?
No, actually, the angle with Undertaker actually went longer than I thought it would. To be honest with you, I didn't expect it to go as long as it did. It obviously started at the Rumble, and then it went for weeks and weeks and weeks after that until and then I got the hardcore title off of it, and then for weeks after that, he would come out after my matches and just pummel me. And I remember I had a match with Jericho in Richmond, Virginia, and after the match, and I remember clearly because it was Richmond is where I watched my first show ever. You know, I saw my first wrestling match ever in Richmond, and then I'm wrestling Jericho for the title in Richmond, and you know, it was my first time wrestling in Richmond, so it's kind of a homecoming for me. And Undertaker came out and pummeled me, beat the shit out of me after that match. But it was, the angle actually went longer than I thought it would. Favorite match of all time?
Yeah.
My favorite match of all time would probably, crazy enough, have to be probably that the Royal Rumble match I did with Undertaker. That and the match I had when I was general manager with Triple H.
Your worst match?
I had 2 consecutive house show matches with Shelton. One was in Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania. The other one was in somewhere in New York. Begins with a P, I forget. Anyway, Poughkeepsie. It was my first 2 matches as a heel, and I had no clue what I was doing out there. I blew up, got tired. The matches were the shits, and they were 2 matches that I would like to take off my resume.
Favorite guy to work with?
Favorite guy to work with? Christian. I have a group of them. Christian was fun. I had fun. Randy Orton was definitely fun. Enjoyed working with Lance Storm. Lance was always easy and fun. And probably Val Venus. Even though Val chopped the hell out of you all the time and would sit there and laugh at you for chopping.
Did you have a least favorite guy to work with?
Least favorite guy to work with. No, nothing that really sticks out of my head right now. I'm trying to think of somebody that chronically would hurt me, and nothing sticking out in my head. I enjoyed working with Matt Hardy too. Worked a small little program with him before I broke my arm, and he was fun.
Do you have any plans to go to TNA or continue on the Indies, or you just want to?
I'm definitely keeping my options open. Whether it be working on the Indies a little bit, whether it be going to TNA. I like the things that TNA are doing. I don't watch WWE product anymore, but I do watch TNA's, and because I got my buddy Devon works there, and I would definitely keep my options open with going there.
Have you ever been contacted by them?
Have I ever
been contacted by them?
I've talked with them through other people.
Yeah.
Okay. Your favorite match?
Favorite match?
TitleMatchNetwork.com